Welcome back to Unplayable. We've got David and Jim here today, and we're going to talk about some more Star Wars Unlimited spoilers. There have been a lot this week.
9 in one day.
Like, since Monday, there's been like 10. There were 9 in one day. That's wild.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive right into them. First, we've got a very exciting K2SO. It's a 4-cost ground unit, red hero, 4 health, 4 attack, rebel droid with overwhelm, and when defeated, for each opponent, choose one. Either deal 3 damage to that player's base, or that player discards a card from their hand.
Yeah. Number one, K2SO. K2SO is just a really awesome character. Number 2, he's awesome. Unlike Star Wars Destiny, and I'm so excited about that. Go ahead, Jim.
I was going to say, I thought the first thing you'd get excited about is where it starts off with for each opponent, meaning multiplayer format coming to Star Wars.
Yep. Honestly, yeah.
Probably you're just like, yes, we're getting some play for this, and this is looking great. And it's a solid effect for sure. Whether it's, for like a beatdown, like direct damage to the base, maybe not the like fastest of all time, but doing 9 damage. Okay, I'm in.
Well, 7, right?
Either deal 3 damage to that player's base or that player discards a card from hand. So you had 3 opponents, wouldn't that should be 3 each?
Oh, I see. Okay, if you're in multiplayer. I got you.
Yeah, I was like, how did that math add up?
I'm in multiplayer brain over here. So, sorry, I've been playing so much MTG Commander recently.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now.
Mode right now. I get it. I get it.
Like 4 players. What in the world?
Multiplayer. Yeah. That's where my head's at.
Yeah, so this guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with, and it's going to create some inevitable scenarios where K2SO drops and you either need to exhaust this guy or bounce this guy or get him off the board without defeating him, or you just auto lose. 3 damage is powerful.
Taking 3 damage to the base is just too much. And normally I wouldn't want to pay 4 for a 4/4, but when this is guaranteed almost to do 3 damage, like you really want to be bouncing this to your opponent's hand or exhausting it every turn or finding a way to not have to deal with it, because your opponent's going to be trying to be pretty aggressive, I imagine, if they're playing this card. And that's a lot of reach.
Like I would play this without overwhelm.
Yeah, probably.
One day I want to like ambush this in with the energy conversation lab. And just do the overwhelm and the extra damage somehow. Like that would just be sick.
Your opponent has like something that has 4 health or 4 attack and 1 health left, and you get to deal 6 to base.
Yeah,
immediately.
That's the dream.
That would be great. All right, next up, we've got Benthic 2 Tubes, a 1-cost ground unit. It's red. It's a 2/2 Rebel Trooper, and on attack, another friendly red unit gains Raid 2 for this phase.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Another super aggressive card.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's basically a 4/2 for 2 if you can play a red card alongside it.
Yep.
The only like the tricky thing about this card is your opponent can probably take it out first action of like turn 2. Because if you're playing 2 1-cost characters, your opponent probably played 1 2-cost character and has initiative, but maybe they played in space, or maybe they also played 2 1-cost characters or units, and you're going first. So I think this has,
or regional governor or something. Yeah,
something like that. But I think this has some game to it, but it's also maybe a little bit harder to actually get value out of the raid too. But it's like a must answer threat that's a 1-cost card.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And 2 great tags in Rebel and Trooper, because you can run this in hero or villain red, and both of those can do some stuff with that. So this is a overperforming 1-cost for sure.
Yeah, I think just if you are playing like the 2 1-costs to start the game, like you play this one probably second to see what your opponent does first. Like, oh, did you play something that could kill 2 tubes, rather than like playing it first, then seeing how they play into that. You can kind of take a little bit of that initiative to get it. But yeah, this card's sweet for any sort of just like, hey, we're just going to go straight to your face the entire game. See what happens. I love that card.
Yeah. All right.
Sabine, man. Here she comes.
getting more tools all the time. Okay, we've got first spoiler from the FFG deck building gameplay stream thing. And this is Redemption. It's an 8-cost space unit, blue hero. It's a 6/9 Rebel vehicle capital ship. It has Sentinel, and when played, heal up to 8 total damage from any number of units and or bases, and deal that much damage to this unit. How are we feeling about this?
I feel like I need to play it before I can really get a feel for it. But Sentinel to protect your base on top of that is so necessary for me to even want to consider this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know like how much play a card, heal your base a ton cards we have. I know Restore is very popular, but I don't know how many are like play this card to heal your base right off the bat. That could save you a lot of games.
One maybe with repairs, like 1 cost, heal 3.
Yeah.
But this is more
the amount of
exciting than
games, it's just like you kind of get to that like who's calling check first, and then okay, I'm just going to claim and win the next turn. It's like, okay, well, I'm now going to play this, and you claimed early, and now you can't beat me. So I think for that alone, it's worth at least considering. But 8 costs are very expensive in this game.
It's very pricey. Yeah, at that cost, you have to affect the game like quickly. At least in many ways, some of the big cost units are, like the Blizzard AT, assault or whatever. It's like, okay, if it gets way later bounced and you paid 8 for that thing, you feel real sad. This, at least you're getting some when played ability. I in my head, I was doing like the mental exercise of like, what is the optimum? How many should I heal? How much damage should I put on this? Like what? And a lot of it is just going to be game specific and all of that. But how much to heal from base, how much to heal from units. I think it will it will reward really sharp players, like people who can see what might be coming and then evaluate and make good decisions. So I think it rewards good play. Yeah, I don't know. 8 is very expensive. I'd rather play like another Luke for 7. But if you already have Luke out, and it's not always an option. So
sometimes you need to heal right away too. Sometimes you're about to die. And you can't play Luke because you're about to die.
Yeah, you're trying to stabilize
the following round.
Yeah.
But I do wish that it didn't deal the full like amount of damage to itself. If it dealt like half that amount of damage, or I don't know, just like this being a 6/1 is a lot less exciting than it being a 6/9 or 6/5 or something to heal 8.
Yeah,
but at the same time, 8's a lot. I don't know. It just like bringing this to 1 health, like you have to really be in the right situation for that to be worth it. Because there's so many like small ships or things that can ping like 1 damage that mean that this is probably like I don't know if you're going to get the full, value of healing 8 from this. Maybe there's a way to give this like shielded or something like that where I don't know if that exists yet, but one day if you can give this shielded and then do the when played after it has a shield on it, that'd be pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Just pop the shield rather than taking the damage. That'd be sweet.
That's gross. Yeah. That's degenerate.
I think, this card feels like one that I would maybe consider adding like in response to like a meta if I was looking at competitive play, more so than this card is like a build around for my deck. Like my
That's
health
fair.
is a resource. So it's like if I'm just consistently like, man, I'm just needing a little bit more health to turn the corner and then I'm dominating this game, then I'd be considering this card. But I think I would start with, because I already have like the 25 health bases and the 30 health bases, like, okay, maybe bumping to the 30 health base first, see if that helps, and then start considering like, do I actually need to heal? But I feel like just healing your base as an overall strategy typically isn't where I want to be.
Sure, yeah. And hero can't ramp quite as effectively as villain without super laser tech. So getting to 8 is definitely harder in a hero deck. All right, let's move on to this crazy card, Orikaz, I believe in. It's a 3-cost red event, red hero. And it says reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. For each hero card revealed this way, deal 1 damage to an enemy base. You may discard any of the revealed cards and put the rest back on top in any order. Yeah. So if your deck is full of hero cards, it's just deal 4 damage to your opponent's base and then set up your next draw.
I mean, I joked about this, but Sabine got so many tools. This is going to be a nightmare for many people at 3 costs too.
Yeah.
Well, normally like ping 3 to deal 4 damage in another game. Does that feel that exciting? Like, I don't think it does. But something about this game, like, you sometimes just need the extra reach. And, if you're playing Sabine or playing even Leia or something like that, you often get your opponent down to like 2, 3, 4, 5 health left by the time like they're about to stabilize.
Yeah.
And you can just snipe them with this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's been my problem playing aggro is I feel like it was you, and then there was another game on the late night where in the same day I was up like 22-0 and 19-0 with aggro. And they stabilized, and then I couldn't push through those last few points of damage. And this is definitely a gift to aggro to make that happen. I think that it'll be this video will be out, but you won a game against me recently, like on our channel with this. I was at 21, you hit it, it was game over. Didn't matter. My Sentinel guy didn't even.
Yeah, you dropped big old Obi-Wan, and I just played this and dealt 4 damage to you, and that was it.
Yep.
So
yeah,
the other cool thing that you can do with this is you can try to find another copy of Forecast in the cards that you flip. So, if you need more than one of these, you play one, and then if it's within the top 4 cards of your deck, you just make sure that one's the next card that you draw.
Gross.
So you can do it again the next turn. And if it's not, then you just dump all the other cards and hope that it's in the 2 cards below that. So
yeah,
it'll be a fun game trying to figure out like, okay, how many hero cards do I actually need in my deck for me to like want to play this? Like, do you just have to go full hero all 50, or can you do like 35, 40? Like,
yeah, I think you can definitely do less than 50. It's just what risk are you willing to take, and are those cards that you're playing that are not hero cards worth extra damage? I guess, right?
Because like Scribe 4 is still not nothing. Like that's still pretty solid for any game of just knowing what's coming next.
For sure. Yeah. All right. We're moving on to the next card. We've got Keep Fighting. It's a 2-cost red event. It says ready a unit with 3 or less power. Simple.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty underwhelmed when I saw this. But again, I think aggro stuff like this, it could be almost misleading. Like it doesn't just mean pay 2 to deal 3. Like it could mean pay 2 to remove a unit or push through the last damage on a base. I think with Boba red, I mean, when you're getting those 2 extra resources after he attacks on his deployed side.
That's a good use for this. This is pretty good with Fifth Brother, right? Who has less than 3 power, but gets raid for each damage on it. So you potentially get more than that in terms of actual power.
I was thinking more like end around if you have Boba unit on the arena and you can ready it after they've exhausted everything and because they're like, oh, Boba's exhausted, I'm good. And it's like, sucker.
Yep. And it's interesting. It's pretty flexible, right? Because like you said, you can use this either to push more damage to your opponent or take out something that they have.
Yeah.
I think it's just like, I haven't played around too much with this, but it feels like it might be a little bit narrow in terms of you do have to have a unit in play that meets this requirement and then have something worth either attacking into or be playing a deck that really wants to push an extra 3 damage. I mean, we just said that 3 cost for 4 damage was good. This is basically 2 costs for 3 damage if you want to think of it that way, right? So maybe this is it's not quite the same because you can't get through like Sentinel and other things unless you're doing this with like a Saboteur unit. I don't know. This is definitely interesting.
For me, I'm thinking just almost strictly raid decks of like, because when you attack, that's when the buff happens and then it goes away.
Like Rogue Operative with this is pretty good. The 2/4 raid 2.
Oh yeah.
With Saboteur.
I was looking at 2 tubes that we just talked about as well. And so it's like, let's say like an ideal first 2 turns play. So the first turn you play 2 1 cost. Let's say they both have 2 attack. Turn 2, you attack with 2 tubes for 2, give raid 2 to, let's say, the 2 attack guy, and then can swing twice with it for 10 total damage on turn 2.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, but you're not building up your board state. You have to drop another 1 drop and then kind of keep it going. So you just got to kind of do the mental math of like, okay, at what point is that actually better than just playing a 2 drop? Because I think more often than not, I'd almost rather just have another unit on board. But there's definitely some cases where if you can stack a bunch of raid, this could get sick.
Yeah,
that's fun. Probably where my head would be at for like actually trying to build around this thing.
All right. Sweet. Let's move on to the next one. We've got Cartel Spacer. It's a 2-cost space unit. It is yellow and fill-in. It's a 2/3 underworld vehicle fighter. When played, if you control another yellow unit, exhaust an enemy unit that costs 4 or less.
Solid.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Like the stats are decent and the when played is really good.
This is like the what I mentioned about K2. Like you're not going to want to kill K2 in a lot of situations, but being able to drop a 2 cost and just exhaust their K2 at 4 cost.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to have the other yellow
you want to run against K2. It feels like.
Yeah. Yep. So this is a solid little 2-coster, and three health is good at 2 costs. I think that's really important. Yeah. So that TIE fighters can't snipe it.
I do like that the only leader this can target is Sabine. For as much talk as we've just had about like, oh my gosh, Sabine's gonna look crazy for what we just revealed. I think Sabine's the only 4-cost that could be hit by this.
That's true. Yeah, that's interesting. That makes it extra good against that strategy for sure. And it's not that hard to have another yellow unit in play. So the condition's not really that hard to meet, which is nice.
Agreed.
It's not something that you are super excited to drop turn 1 though. So this is probably a card that's good with Boba, where you're playing something, playing multiple things that cost 2 on turn 2 because you get to ready a resource. All right, we're moving on to Bodhi Rook. He is a 3-cost ground unit, double yellow. It's a 3/3 Imperial Rebel. When played, look at an opponent's hand and discard a non-unit card from it.
Yeah. Bodhi's here, everybody. The Imperial Rebel himself. I get the tags. That's pretty crazy, but those are the tags you want if you're trying to play in one of those themes. I love the effect. I think being able to what's the other one? Is it Spark of Rebellion, where you get to Spark of Rebellion? You pay 2 and look at a card, any card, and discard it. This you pay 1 more and you get a 3/3 and you discard a non-unit card. That's just very good. If you want to run. They had to make the double yellow, double color cards really good to incentivize you actually doing this. And that's what I want to see out of a double colored card. So this is probably not that great in like limited where you're drafting or doing sealed, but in constructed, I think this could be a beast.
I don't know how to feel about it. Because like if you whiff, that just feels so bad. Like 3/3 is just like,
you still get a 3/3.
It's fine, but like, I'm trying to think, am I only playing this like in a control style? Like, let me whittle down my opponent's hand and then board and then like squeeze out the victory that way. I also just haven't played enough discard mechanics yet because I know where you're drawing 2 cards to start the turn. It's like, for me, discard feels like it might be less effective in this game than in other games. But
I feel like if you're playing this, I would want to be playing this in a more aggressive deck or like a tempo deck where what you're trying to snipe from your opponent's hand is their removal. So because it comes with a 3/3, you get to build your board while removing their ability to deal with your board.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, if you miss, it still feels kind of like meh, but I don't know that they don't have anything. So that's not worth nothing.
A cunning on the play to mess you back.
Yeah. Okay, so an example might be if you're running a Han Solo Jedha City mono yellow deck, you're dropping this at 3, trying to snipe out anything that could exhaust Han when you're bringing them out to try to get to that like 7-coster. The no good to me dads, the Asteroid Sanctuaries, or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, I think sniping their removal options definitely makes a lot of sense, especially leading into I'm about to play my leader and want to use it on the play. So you convinced me. It's fine. I'll put it in my double yellow decks.
Amazing. All right. Well, I'm glad that you agree.
Hey, I can be swayed. It's all good.
All right. We've got Crafty Smuggler, 2-cost ground unit. It's yellow. It's a 2/2 shielded. I think this card's pretty good.
Yeah. For just yellow, I mean, this could fit in a lot of different decks at 2.
Yellow has a lot of buff effects too. It's like with Surprise Strike and Shoot First and stuff like that. Shoot First is like not as good because you're not going to take damage back anyway if you defeat your opponent's unit or whatever. But I don't know, giving this extra power and then hitting something bigger and not dying is pretty cool.
You know what this made me think of? Chewbacca yellow.
Oh, give it Sentinel.
Well, I was thinking you got this guy. You can drop him in a Sentinel. You got the Wilderness Fighter. He can come in as 2/4 with shielded. And I was like, oh, is there a scenario in which you could just drop like shielded Sentinels every round and just be like, deal with it?
Pretty spicy.
That's a world I do not want to live in.
Well, no one likes Chewbacca except for Jeremy Zorin, who put on a clinic. It was great, but I like this guy. Yeah, he's great. I feel like he's uniquely great in constructed and limited. So
yeah, definitely. You can kind of think about this almost like a 2-cost 4/4 because it hits something twice and takes 2 hits. Yeah, that's quite good. All right, Next up, we've got Volunteer Soldier, a 3-cost ground unit, just purely neutral. It's a 2/3 raid 1, and if you control a trooper unit, this unit costs 1 less to play.
Is there a trooper deck that really wants to use card spots for this?
Maybe. I don't know. It's probably not, because you can't play this on turn 1.
Yeah.
If you could, maybe can you play a Han trooper deck and play this on turn 1? You play a trooper first action and then use Han's ability and then play this. That's kind of spicy.
There you go. Is it spicy, or is it like mild salsa?
It's pretty good.
Mild salsa for sure. I think I'm only putting
that's no jalapeno spicy. That's
like whatever's less spicy than jalapeno.
that's tomato spicy.
Tomato spicy. Pico.
This doesn't get me excited, but I like the design space of just having like, okay, there's no aspects when you're drafting, like this just kind of slots in, if you need units. Might come in at 2 instead of a 2, at 3, general tag can get in there and
give us some experience
and buffer. Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Well, we can move on to a hopefully more exciting card, which is Del Miko, 3-cost ground unit, blue villain, 3/3, Imperial and Trooper with Restore 1, and each event an opponent plays costs 1 more.
Yeah. Take that, Cunning.
It's a good ability.
That's a very good ability.
Yeah, agreed.
And Restore 1 to boot.
Yeah. He's interesting to me because it doesn't usually feel worth playing a 3-cost 3/3, but this does have a lot packed onto it. I guess 3-cost 3/3s that I play sometimes would be the Cell Block Guard. We just talked about Bodhi, and like, is this doing as much for you as those are? Probably. If you're playing against a deck where your opponent wants to play events, because then they have to deal with this first. But 3 health is not that hard to like remove from the board with units.
True. Yeah, part of me wonders if this is like a sideboard. No, like if you go into that yellow villain or like yellow matchup at all.
Anti-yellow or anti-control.
Yeah, just be like, okay, I know what you're going for, and I'm just gonna I don't know. Jim, what was your favorite part from the movies when Del Miko showed up on screen for you?
He actually wasn't in a movie, so none.
Wow, look at you. Do you know who he is? Do you know who he is?
Of course not. I just took a shot in the dark there.
No, that's my point. I didn't know who he was either when he played. And normally I know these things, but I was like, who the heck is this guy? Someone had to tell me.
David doesn't believe in video games, so
no, they don't exist.
What? So I obviously know who it is, but for our listeners, can you tell them who Del Miko is?
Yeah, I would love David, to. Mike, would you tell us, please?
So this is a character from Star Wars Battlefront 2 / Inferno Squadron, of which there's at least 1 book, and he's basically on the same, like, I don't know, elite stormtrooper team as Iden Versio. So
there it is.
Part of that crew.
I know who Iden Versio is because she was in Destiny.
Okay. Nice.
That's all I know from
Iden Versio, Star Wars Galaxy of Hero team that I've been running with recently.
There you go.
Nice.
Del Miko surprisingly not in that game, so
that's a shock.
As I was reading this card, I remember a while ago, Mike, you made a comment of how it feels like a lot of card games have like the heroes be more defensive and the villains be more offensive. And I was like, oh, okay. As I'm thinking through like how to make defensive work, these are the kind of tags that I want. But the fact that it's attached to a villain character totally negated that entire,
it just feels weird, right?
Argument in my head of just like, well, bummer. That is how I would want something to stall the game out, heal myself up a little bit, drag it out a little bit longer, make you pay more. Cool. That's how we can make hero bunker down and, rock it out. But the fact that, he's got what appears to be some sort of sniper aimed right at my face, but he's like, oh, but I'm actually really defensive. Like, what's going on here? I don't understand.
He's providing Overwatch.
Yeah.
Well,
that's what
it looks like. I'm laying down on the ground anyway, like, do your worst, boss.
He's shooting the surprise strike out of your hand.
I have to believe
that's so sweet of him.
The Restore 1 has to be like a nod to Iden, right? Like if her whole thing is healing, him being part of her squad also heals. If we get any more of Inferno Squad, maybe they also heal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's my thought there. But yeah, this feels more like a hero card than a villain card, which is interesting. But also, typically villain cards have been more restrict your opponent from doing things in Star Wars card games, Star Wars like FFG games, and this does that too. So
true.
I don't know. Krennic also restores. So maybe I don't know. Blue just seems to be restore all around, which is cool. Very cool.
I was thinking about Krennic. I was also thinking about Tarkin, because Tarkin can buff this guy as an Imperial and do the whole trooper thing.
Mm-hmm.
Just do some Tarkin blue stuff. We haven't seen Tarkin in a bit. Tarkin's kind of fallen off. So
well, yeah, I still think Tarkin's great.
All right,
cool guys. All right, well, that's it for this round of Star Wars Unlimited spoilers. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video. If you have any thoughts on the cards that we talked about today, let us know in the comments or join our Discord channel and tell us in there.
Yeah, everybody comment your favorite Del Meeko moment in the game, please.
Yeah, what's your favorite Del Meeko moment in the Star Wars films? All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.
Bye.
Bye.